Hello, friends. What's going on? Let everybody file in here, and then we will get rolling with a little pregame. I don't have a lot to say today, but I do have some thoughts on this game. Iowa State and Kansas State coming up here in about 3 hours from now. Yeah, 2.5 hours from now. I'm getting ready to head to our game watch down at Lucky Horse. We're raising money for the Bassett family today. Real quick, let's hear from our friends at the Iowa Clinic before we get going. File in, get your chat questions in. We'll take some questions when I come back.
So, my life gets crazy with Brooke and Blake and a husband that works 80 hours a week. And I decided to start my own business on top of it, which is insanely crazy. But thanks to the Iowa Clinic, they made it easy to see my doctor. And when I get there, she listens. So I feel like I have a partner. And before you know it, I can get back to my crazy busy, insanely busy life where I have a busy business, busy husband, and busy twins. Oh no, where's Brooke? There she is. Care how you want it. Visit iowaclinic.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm just taking a look here at Kansas State, what they have coming up in their schedule. After today, I've kept a pretty close eye. I mean, they've won 2 of 3. They beat Oklahoma State and won at TCU recently. So this is obviously a very capable team to come into Hilton Coliseum and beat Iowa State today. The Wildcats 12-11 overall. They are 4-7 in the Big 12. So clearly, again, ahead of Iowa State in the Big 12 standings. Looks like they've got West Virginia and then at Oklahoma State coming up. All right, to get things started, I did hear that there could be a possible change in the lineup today. I don't know this for sure, but it is possible that I think that there could be a starting lineup change for Iowa State. So let's all keep an eye on that here as we count down to tip off. It sounds like I don't want to say names yet because I don't actually know for sure. Hope you guys can understand that. There is some information on our premium message board for those subscribers. If you want to go and do that, you can support Cyclone Fanatic. Here's the deal. I've been kind of saying this week on my radio show, and I'm not a big fan of using the term must win because it's kind of like, well, what happens if you don't win, which is very possible. Iowa State a 5-point favorite right now. But I'm saying in terms of making the NCAA tournament, this is a game that you really, really need to have, right? I mean, we can all agree on that when you look at the rest of the way. Very winnable games. Iowa State's next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games are all very, very winnable, even as poorly as the team has been playing. But they can make some hay. Bloom and I kind of laid it out last week on the Sunday pod about winning 1 game per week the rest of the way. If you do that, you will be in the NCAA tournament, and that would count for today. Then you're at TCU versus Oklahoma, winnable games. West Virginia at home, at Kansas State, winnable games. Oklahoma State at home, and then at Baylor. One of them is a very winnable game. So everything's in front of this team still. But the problem is they are, if they play the way they have the last 3 times out, now granted, you're talking about games against Kansas, Texas, and at West Virginia, right? That's a tough stretch, but just the way this thing is trending right now, I don't have a lot of faith in Iowa State beating anybody. And I don't think that I'm, alone in how I look at that. So a lot to play for today. I think it's this is as close to a must win to get to the NCAA tournament as you can get, in my opinion. If you lose today, 4 in a row, 2 of those are at home, 2 of those against 2 of the lower ranked teams in the conference. So what do you got to do today? They've got to get back to that defensive nastiness, right? Like that's my biggest thing over the last 3 games, guys. It's when Iowa State was ranked in the top 15, this team had an identity. Nastiness, toughness, beat the crap out, right? Like we all knew what that identity was. This team's identity is never going to be, oh, it's a great offensive team. It's never going to happen. They've lost their identity being that nasty, tough defensive unit. It's gone. That's what has to come back today. With that, I actually kind of like this matchup. I'm picking Iowa State to win. The line opened at like 4. It's up to 5, 5.5 now, depending on where you get it. But I like them to bounce back today. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the way, but this isn't a bad team. Like they don't just suck all of a sudden. I think they'll bounce back today. That's my gut. But I'm not taking any game for granted. Like, would it shock me if they lost today? Absolutely not. James, what's a bigger factor in the offensive struggles right now, fatigue or the Big 12 scouting? I just don't think Iowa State's a very good offensive team. I don't think they were a good offensive team in December when they were ranked 13th or whatever they got up to. I would say probably both. What is the bigger? Scouting, I would say. I think that, like, specifically take a look at Brockington, right? These teams have completely taken away the left side of the court for him. But that's a really tough question, James. I don't even know how to answer it. I think that it's probably somewhere right in the middle, which is generally how these things go. Fatigue is hard, like, because that's an easy thing for a guy like me to say. The one thing that stood out to me, so 2 things. One, Iowa State does that high post offense that the fans like to bitch about. I think I was wrong with my analysis after the TCU game. I was like, man, they're making some lazy passes. It doesn't look right. And it kept happening, and it kept happening, and it kept happening. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, those aren't lazy passes. The Hall of Fame coaches you're going up against have completely got this thing down, right? Like they know what's coming and they're jumping the lanes. So I would lean more towards scouting, and that's where Iowa State needs to, make some changes. Here's the deal, though. Like, I can say all that. We're talking half court stuff here. This team will never be a good half court offensive team ever. The way it's set up, it won't. So what does that come back to? You've got to be able to not only create turnovers that Iowa State's still doing, but you've got to be able to get live ball turnovers and score points off of those. That's your best offense for this roster. But yeah, I would probably lean towards scouting more than anything. This is a very limited offensive team, and it's a very good defensive league. Put 2 and 2 together with elite coaches, and you're going to get beat up a lot. Kansas State's not like an overly physical team, though, so that's why I kind of like this today. This doesn't feel like it's going to be like a fight like a lot of these games are in this league, if that makes sense. Anybody else got anything? If not, I am going to shut this thing down. Thanks to our friends at the Iowa Clinic. I'm going to get down to Lucky Horse to our game watch where we're going to raise money for the Bassett family. If you're not going to Hilton, if you're in Central Iowa, come on down and join us. We've got a bunch of cool stuff to give away. This is the last bottle of Cyclone Fanatic Cody Road on the planet. I'm sure you can find some somewhere, but this is the last one that we have. And that's from our friends at Mississippi River. A couple other things. Got a Matt Cantergraft football. Authentic Brand sent me this awesome cooler. Give that away. Got some hats. Got some tickets to football next year. Be a good time. Y'all have a great Saturday. We appreciate you. And go Clones. Women tip off here in 25 minutes.